Welcome to Chik, the podcast where the girl with many titles talks about life, the good and the bad, and everything around it. We're going to sit, chat, share life stories and experiences, from business to relationship. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Chik podcast. So this week, actually, it's the first week in a while where it's just been me. But I thought I'd give it a quick one, because basically I've been looking at just some of the lessons I've learned from this year, and I picked 5 of them that I thought I'd share with you guys. So I'm going to get straight into it, and I am going to start with my tip of the week. I'm going to go with tip of the week rather than challenge, because I feel like I'm in a pretty good space. But my tip of the week, I think at the moment, is to focus on making goals, I'd say, to focus on making goals that just seem really far-fetched as well as more attainable ones, because I just feel like we like to keep ourselves in this like cocoon quite a lot, and like we like to stay safe. But I'm at a point where I'm like, actually, I keep like hitting goals, and yes, some of them I'm not hitting the way I'd want to hit them, but maybe I just need to be a bit more intentional with what those goals look like and how I need to get there. But yeah, straight into it. So top 5 things I have learnt this year, and I suppose for those of you that personally know me or follow me on like social media, you'll definitely know what I've been through over the last, especially couple of years. Like my life, I felt like was falling apart before the pandemic even happened, and then this year was like the cherry on top of the cake. Like this was the bow, and it all just completely fell apart to be put back together. But that's not, it's not a bad thing, because number 1 on my list is that you can have it all. So when my niece, actually let me take it back one step. When I was younger, I went to a networking event, and this was when I'd started Mostly Muffins, my first business. So I wasn't very old whatsoever, but I was talking to a guy just saying, I'd love to have my own business and have a successful business. I want to be able to work from anywhere in the world. I want to have a team. I want to be able to have kids when I decide to do that, settle down when I decide to do that. And he was like, you do realise you can't have it all? And I just remember that time thinking, like, who the hell are you to tell me that I can't have it all? And that's always, like, I am the pettiest person ever. And it's something that stuck with me for years, to the point where when my niece was born, I promised myself that for the first year of her life, I would spend as much time with her as possible, because I wanted her first experience of me to be proof that whatever she wants to do in life, she can have it all. And for myself as well, because I feel like now I'm looking back, I think I've gone maybe 3 months since last November where I've not seen her. Otherwise, I have been there for firsts. I have got to know my brother and sister-in-law's like friends, and the ones that have kids. The kids know me because I'm around so much. I have been able to work from there, but in England, I've been able to work from different places. I've been able to still have a good and healthy relationship, move forward in my life, build the business, but be there and be present. And that's something that I am so proud of, because genuinely, like, it's one of those things that I look at now and I'm like, if I could do that in 1 year, the more I'm focused, the more that I stop limiting myself, where am I going to be when I am ready to settle down and when I am ready to potentially have kids? Because the world is my oyster, and I can do whatever I want. Number 1. Number 2 is, so I've written, grieving someone still alive is one of the worst experiences you could ever have. And again, like I said, for me this year, early on in the year, it just felt like my life completely fell apart. And I think when I say it felt completely apart, that's something that had to happen for me to be where I am now. And it's definitely a positive thing. And again, for the people that follow me on social media, you'll have seen everything from when me and my first ex broke up and he cheated, to, I know there's not too much stuff about that because I didn't go too much into it, but I've talked about it since and like how it made me feel. And then obviously getting to a point where Sean was a part of some people's online life as well for 5.5 years, and to all of a sudden walk away from someone that I still cared about, someone that still cared about me, to walk away in a way that, like, when you've lost someone, you know that they're gone, you know that there's nothing that you can do about it, you know that that's it. Whereas when you're grieving someone that's still alive, like your life's moving forward, you know, their life's moving forward when you're still in contact. It is one of the most difficult experiences that I have ever been through. Like, even talking about it now, it makes me feel emotional because that's someone I spent years building a life with, years talking about my deepest, darkest fears, talking about and being vulnerable to, and vice versa. Someone that I understood in a way that no one else did, and vice versa. Someone that understood me in a way that in a way that other people didn't. And then all of a sudden, this person that was your best friend, that was there every day, that you confided in with everything, that was there for all the little things and the big things, all of a sudden they're not there anymore, or not even in the same capacity. And you just have to deal with that. Like, I can't tell you how weird it's been knowing that when, like, I had to make the decision when Sean came back to go, well, do I actually want to see him right now? And I wasn't in the headspace to be able to see him, not because there are still feelings there in that sense, but because I'm in a different space now. I'm in a place in life where I'm happy and I'm still working on me. I'm still, like, I went for a therapy check-in next week. I'm happy with where things are. I just, for me, an unhealthy decision would have been to allow something back into my life that I knew potentially might affect me in a way that made me not focus on or carry on focusing on me, because I put other people first. I want other people to be happy. I want other people to feel loved. So in my mind, whilst I was grieving this person, how do I then not allow them to encroach my life in a way that's going to have a negative effect? And for me, for this year, it's been to not have any contact whatsoever. And that's been weird whilst being in a relationship. That's been weird whilst being single. That's been weird whilst dating. It's been weird whilst keeping in touch, because, like I said, this person, for all intents and purposes, is basically dead, but they're not dead because they're on the end of the phone. And yeah, I think unless you've been through it, it's just something that's just so hard to fathom and to explain, but you survive it, and here I am. Okay, so I'm getting into kind of the middle of where I am. So, mental health check-in, how am I actually doing? Do you know what? I'm in such a good place. For the first time in a long time, like, I've been able to go back, like, again, for people that know me very well, they know how particular I am. They know what I'm like when it comes to cleaning. The way my mum brought us up and the way that my family are brought up in terms of my mum's side of the house, when you clean, it's like a spring clean every week. Now, can you imagine running your own business? I'll never forget, there was a week where it got to a Friday. I'd had like a 12-hour day where I'd been up from early in the morning and it was late. And then I was like, right, I've now got to cook. And because we had it instilled in us that on a Friday you clean, I'd be anxious if I didn't clean on a Friday, because then I couldn't enjoy my weekend. And I literally just sat there and cried, because I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm tired. I need to eat, but I also need to clean for me to be able to switch off. So for me, where I knew that, like, I'm doing really well was when, like, G's been around a lot more recently, but I was able to have a productive week with work. I was able to stop on Friday night. I did a little bit at the weekend, but just a tiny bit. But I was able to stop. I was able to start cleaning whilst G was around. I was able to clean to, like, how I want it to, and I'm saying how I want it to be done. This is just the first bit. Like, this was like a first stage. But yeah, anyway, the point is, I am in such a good space that I'm finding that it's allowing me to start doing some of the things that I wasn't able to do before, just because my mind couldn't, not cope, but I just couldn't deal with having to do all of those different things. So yeah, all good. And then number 3. So number 2, I talked about grieving someone that is still alive and how difficult that is. And number 3 for me was never losing hope. Now, I suppose I'm talking about this mostly about love, but also about just in general, like, not losing hope, because things do work out. I know that's a cliche, but for me, like I said, my first partner cheated on me in the worst way possible. Backstory, I was here in Northern Ireland looking after my dad, who we thought was dying at the time. He was severely, severely ill. He had cancer. Whilst I was here, my ex cheated on me in my own flat. And getting over that was horrific. And yeah, I had to then move into my next relationship with Sean and not allow that level of betrayal at that time as well. And mind you, I'm someone that's always said, if you are going to cheat, just end the relationship, tell me there and then, move on, that's you done. And to me, he hurt me in such a way that, like, it was the worst way possible. So for me to not lose hope and to still believe in love and to still believe in, like, a happily ever after, that took a lot. And it took a lot to not let some of those insecurities encroach on that relationship. And of course, although me and Sean did end, I've still taken on so many positives, because it's not even that, I think me and Sean just had different levels of trauma. And like I said, I've said on my blog before, we both needed to do work separately and then come together. And I walked away because it felt like I was doing the work and it felt like I was moving forward, but it felt like I was also stuck in a past. So for me to then not lose hope about still finding someone, still being happy, to still be happy to do me. I was doing the solo dates, I was doing things to give myself a safe space and a happy space. And all of a sudden to suddenly find someone that makes me feel safe, is just calm, makes my heart smile, is just like, sometimes I sit and I think, how did I get so lucky? But again, like when I had my therapy check-in last week, my therapist was saying, well, you spent the guts of 2 years in therapy crying every week and working through some severe trauma and severe stuff. But you were very clear on what you wanted. You were very clear on what you wanted from life and what you wanted from a partner. And even if like you're not sure on like yourself sometimes, those things are always clear. So why are you surprised that it's working, or like these things are okay? So I suppose that's where, like I'm saying, when it comes to not losing hope, I'm so glad I didn't lose hope, because all of a sudden, like I said, I'm finding myself in a space where I'm allowing things to come back into my life and to enter my life and to be able to do things. And I've got the headspace for things that I wouldn't have had the headspace for months ago. I wouldn't have had the headspace for last year. And that's because I didn't give up. So yeah, don't lose hope. Number 4, mindset is everything. Gratitude, manifestation. So at the beginning of this year, I was talking about this on TikTok actually the other day, saying at the beginning of this year, I've been saying this mantra to myself, and I try and remember to say it as much as I can. When I journal, I write it down. So it was, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am loved, I am in love, I am happy. And I added in the happy later on. Now, in terms of being healthy, obviously I was in therapy and I do things to make sure that I'm staying healthy. I eat well. I don't cook, but I get cooked for, and I eat well. Wealthy, in terms of wealth, financial wealth, I'm not where I want to be. Of course I'm not. But in terms of like the people I've got in my life and the things that I have in my life, I can't even fault that. That's there. So that's healthy, wealthy. I'm loved. I feel so loved. I could cry. The things that the people in my life do. And again, like I've always said, I'm someone that's got a lot of love to give, and I love to do things for people. I love the acts of service. I love doing little things to make people smile. But I suppose my point of all this is in terms of being healthy, wealthy, loved, in love, happy. All of these things I keep saying to myself because that was so important to me. But that was my mindset. I practice gratitude because, like I said, I love the people that love me, and I don't need things back from other people. I just like to do things for others sometimes when I can. But the gratitude, the manifestation, that has been huge on my life, because I am a spiritual person, and I do believe in God, and I go to church, and maybe I don't believe in things the way that my mum's generation would do, because to me there's a lot more to it. However, when it comes to just believing things are going to get better and not giving up, that's something that, like, I don't give up. And I haven't given up, but I'm around the right types of people as well that don't allow me to give up. And that is a mindset thing. Like at the moment, I'm focusing a lot more on manifestation, because to me, when I set goals and now I'm manifesting more, it's making me realise that I shy away from making difficult decisions. I shy away from really, really pushing myself because it is scary. And now I'm looking at my goals going, if I was to set my goals and I manifest some of these things that I want, and I am creating these, like I created vision boards and all of that, but if I do things in a slightly different way where I'm more intentional, where the hell am I going to be next year? Because like some of the brands I'm working with at the moment as an influencer, some of the people we're working with within the agency, some of the content I'm able to create, all of this has come from the fact that, like I keep telling myself, it can be done. And one of the goals for last year was for us to be known as the content queens, and for me to be known to be the bougie auntie. And again, I've smashed those. I've smashed business goals, smashed personal goals. There are still some business goals that, of course, we'll always be working towards, and we'll always be trying to get to a particular space. And that's, again, something that's on me, because I need to get more kind of focused on selling and not shy away from stuff like that so much. But yeah, mindset is everything. And as I go to 2023, in terms of mindset, doesn't matter how much I tell myself I can't do something, I am going to do it. I am going to keep telling myself I can do it, and I will do it. I'm going to check in next year. We'll see what I have done. I've even got like a 30 before 30 list that I want to do, just because there are little things that I want to practice more in terms of gratitude, in terms of just doing little things for me. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then number 5 is protect your peace. Whew. Now, as a black woman, not even just as a woman, as a black woman, like I said, my life felt predominantly like I was constantly just putting people first. And that doesn't mean that I don't want to put people first, but a lot of the times I was pouring from an empty cup. Now, how the hell can you pour from an empty cup? Because all you're doing is depleting yourself. And that's when my home became my sanctuary, my safe space. I would hide away at home. I would just disappear. And now I have focused on being more selfish. And do you know what? People talk about being selfish as like a negative thing. But as a woman, as a black person, as a person of colour, whatever you are, if you are not being more selfish and protecting your peace, something is wrong. There are times where I felt like, okay, maybe I've taken a little step back from spending so much time with my family and doing certain things. And I have felt guilty, but I've had to train myself out of that, because when I take that time to recharge, when I take the time to only focus on the things that I want to focus on, because again, I'm not a bad person. I do things for other people. I do put other people first. But it doesn't mean that everyone deserves for me to put them first. It doesn't mean that everyone deserves for me to pour into their cup. And the more I focus on protecting my peace and protecting my energy and doing the things that make me feel happy, that make me feel safe, that make me feel like I love myself, that make me feel like I'm protecting my inner child, the more I can go out and give other people my time, my energy, other things. I'm not a person that argues anyway. I guess I can be a petty person, but if I do not need to be in a space that is serving me, I'm now not in those spaces. I do not argue with people that want to argue, even when it comes to taking on work. I do not give people the time to take away from my peace, because that's a boundary that I've set. When it comes to what time am I going to work, I've changed all of that. What time am I going to take on client meetings? I've changed all of that. What time am I going to finish? Change that. If I'm spending time with Gareth, how am I going to make sure that he knows he's a priority? All of that has been changed, because I have the headspace to be able to do that. But the only reason I've got to do that is because I protect my peace. And when I protect my peace and people learn, I will protect my peace at all costs. Guess what? People respect that. And people make sure that you are okay. People do stuff for you. Protect your peace. Just do it. Okay, so ending it on my win of the week. What is my win of the week? Do you know what? My win of the week is just realising not only that I talked about this last week, that I can have it all. Not only that I could have it all, but that I still have the capacity to do certain things. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll come to a point again when I am in a place where I am gonna get cleaner again, because I don't have the time to be doing 4-hour cleans or whatever else it is. But just to be in a space where I'm with someone that makes me feel so loved and protected, that brings so much peace into my life, to be in a space where I know I bring so much happiness and peace into my own life, and I am there for myself. I can provide for myself and do whatever I need for myself. But at the same time, I do not want to, like I said, I'm not going to be the strong, I am done with being the strong, independent black woman. I chose a soft life. And guess what? The soft life chose me. So yeah, my win of the week is realising that I really did choose a soft life, and the soft life chose me back. And yeah, it makes me super, super happy. So I hope these have been an interesting top 5. Are they my top 5? Well, within my top 10 anyway. But I hope that resonates with some of you. I hope, like, if anyone does want to reach out, or because I've had some interesting conversations based off some of my podcasts, feel free to get in touch and talk about some of these things. Or if you want some tips, or you've got tips for me, work away, send them across. And as always, thank you for supporting the podcast. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all the things that you normally do. And yes, I will see you guys next week.